We are going to start with introduction to manufacturing. What is manufacturing? What is manufacturing process? What are the manufacturing processes? How do we select the materials? What are different types of materials available? And what are the product design? And what is product design? And what are the steps in product design? So these are some of the things that we can cover in today's lecture. So before we move on to other topics, let's start with what is manufacturing. Okay, so we are going to work on what is manufacturing, selection of materials, selection of manufacturing process. I will increase the size of the slide. Okay, so we are going to go through manufacturing, selection of materials, and selection of manufacturing process. Okay, so I've already shared this video. I hope you guys have gone through and already have some idea of manufacturing process. Okay. Before we move on to manufacturing, we need to understand and we need to realize what is technology. Okay. So in layman terms or in basic terms, technology is basically can be defined as the application of science to fulfill our society needs. Let's say I want a laptop, so the technology is going to help me bring this laptop. Let's say I need a mouse, so the technology is something which is going to help me create a mouse. So anything which you need, which I need, which the society needs, okay, anything which helps in the creation or of fulfilling our needs is technology. Okay, so technology can be defined as uh, the application of science that fulfills the need and desire of our society. Very simple. So all of the technology listed above have one thing in common, that is they are all manufactured. Okay, so there are technology which cannot be manufactured, like you have Windows. Windows is a software and it is a technology, but you cannot physically create it. You cannot physically manufacture it, right? You have to go through the process of computer science and programming to create it. But physically creating something is called manufacturing. Okay. So let's move to a second slide. So what is manufacturing and where did this word came out from? Okay. So the word manufacturing came out with manus and factus. Manus means hand, factus mean make, handmade. So previously in the early generation when Latin was the primary language in UK, in France, in the Europe, Latin was spoken. So they used to say that anything which is handmade is called manufactures, and from manufactures we get this word manufacturing, or nowadays it is called production also. So production slash manufacturing is now the key concept of current manufacturing era. Now the era in which we guys are living is also manufacturing era. Now, manufacturing can be defined in two ways. Okay, number one is technologically, and number two definition is economic. So both have different definitions. If we talk about technology, then manufacturing is the application of physical chemical process to alter and change the geometry. Number one is geometry. Number two is properties. Number three is appearance. Sometimes what happens is, let's say I have got this steel plate. Okay, if I am going to change the geometry of the steel plate, okay, then this is manufacturing, right? What this is what the definition says. Sometimes what happen, I've got a steel plate and I'm doing heat treatment process. Heat treatment is a process in which I apply amount of heat. Okay, I'm going to heat this product. Okay, after heating the product, what happens is that the tensile strength of the material improves, increases, the hardness of the material increases. So I did not change the product, I did not change the geometry of the product, but I changed the properties of the product by heating it. So that is also called manufacturing. So manufacturing is changing the geometry of a product also, and manufacturing is changing the properties of a product also. Okay, and then the second thing is that my product is same. Okay, but what I did is I changed the color of the product by either painting or etching or something. So I changed the appearance of the product. This is also a part of manufacturing. So these three things, number one, geometry, number two is uh, properties, and number three is appearance. When we are going to change these things for a product, for a raw material, then this is called manufacturing in terms of technology. Okay, manufacturing also includes assembly. Assembly, what is assembly? Let's say I have this part, okay, and I have another part which has a shape like this. Okay, now if I am going to put this part inside this part, okay, this is called fitting. Okay, so what happens is that I have put this part inside, okay, and this putting of part is called assembly operation. Okay, joining two or more than two parts is called assembly operation. Okay, joining many parts together to make a product is called assembly operation. Assemble something. Okay, so we can also, let's say I have got this plate and I have got another plate. Okay, I can do torch welding also. Okay, I can do welding operation and I can join them. So that will be permanent joint. Welding is a permanent joint. Okay, so I can do permanent joint as well. If I have got screws inside, then these screws are called non-permanent joint because I can remove them also. Okay, so assembly operation is another thing which is also a part of manufacturing. So changing the shape, changing the geometry, plus changing the properties, plus changing the appearance, plus doing the assembly operation is all contained in manufacturing process. And this is the technological definition of manufacturing. Now let's move to economical definition of manufacturing. So we move to the next slide. Economical definition. Let's say I have got this phone. Okay, if I'm going to separate these components of phone, okay, let's say this is the main phone LCD. If I remove the LCD, then this phone is useless, right? So basically, economic definition says that if I'm going to join parts which have low value together LCD together, touch screen together, to make a product which has a high value, then this is called economical manufacturing. Okay, economical definition of manufacturing. So economical definition of manufacturing is transformation of material into items of greater value. So the back casing was very cheap. The LCD is very cheap. The camera is also very cheap. If I buy them from outside, very cheap. But when I assemble them together to make a product, then this product is very expensive. Okay. So creating a value out of a product which has greater value, from which I can get a lot of income, okay, or a lot of, let's say, value in terms of money, is something which is called economical definition of manufacturing. So let's say I've got a cheap material, starting material is cheap, okay. Then I do the processing, it will cost me something, okay. But then the final product, this is the final product, okay. This final product has a greater value. So this is economics definition of manufacturing. For example, sand, if you have sand, okay, it's useless. But if you are going to heat the sand, silicon dioxide is sand. If you're going to heat the sand, then it will melt in it, it becomes glass. Now, glass has a lot of value. Okay, so creating and adding value through a manufacturing process is also called economic definition of manufacturing. So let's move to next slide. What are the important steps of manufacturing? Number one is that we need to design something, okay? Number two is basically we need to convert the raw materials into products. And number three is we need to select the process and select the raw materials correctly. Manufacturing revolves around design. First, I design, then I select the raw material, then I select the manufacturing process, okay, and then I do the manufacturing, okay. Design, what is design? Product design basically involves creative and systematic description. Last time I told you that we have got a flow chart, right? Flowchart is also basically a systematic design. What you do is that first you want to make a drawing sketch, okay, then you are going to make a conceptual drawing, concept sketch, then you are going to do calculations for mechanical calculations. Then you're going to do is you're going to design it in a CAD software, computer aided design software. So there are various steps of design that we need to perform before we start manufacturing. I cannot just get this and start manufacturing. No, first I need to design this model on computer. Then from computer, I'm going to export this model into my machine, and then the machine is going to do the manufacturing operation. Okay. So product design involves the creative and systematic prescription of the shape and characteristics of a product or an artifact to achieve specific objective which my customer needs. So my customer, or let's say our class wants a very our class wants a very, let's say, a mouse through which you can do multiple tasks. You can do the trackpad also, you can play games also, so you can do different tasks within from a single product. Okay, so it depends what is your requirement. If our class wants to have a gaming mouse, then I'm going to create a gaming mouse, so my product design will be based on gaming mouse. If my class wants if the class wants to have, let's say, a trackpad, then my design will be based on trackpad. Okay, so product design is based on customer needs, or the what everybody wants, what is the market. Okay, so design process and manufacturing usually sometimes are done one after another. Design first, then manufacturing. So let's move to the next slide. So this is a very general slide. How many components are present in each product? So let's say we have got single component product, we have got nut, bolt, washer. Then as we move on, the manufacturing becomes complex. Then if we see this stapler, then it has around maybe 10 or 20 components that we need to assemble together. Okay. Then if we talk about car, then it has around 500,000 components inside. Okay, so we need to first manufacture each component. Then after manufacturing each component, we need to assemble each component to make a car. So imagine how complex this manufacturing can be. That is why we have thousands of manufacturing process to create different types of product. That is why manufacturing course has a lot of manufacturing types, and in those manufacturing types, you can see different types of processes. So you just need to get the idea that if I want to create a bent sheet, then which manufacturing process should I use? This is your objective. This is your goal for learning this subject, which is that if I want to have, let's say, 90-degree bended sheet, then which process I'm going to use? If I want to cut this sheet, then which process I want to use? If I want to join this phone with this sheet, then which process I need to use? So the like selection of process is very important for you guys to learn, so that you guys know that if my let's say boss wants me to create, let's say fabricate what do you call casing, then I need sheets. I need to bend the sheets. I need to cut the sheets. I need to weld the sheets, and then later on I want to assemble other parts of the sheets. Okay, so so a nail clipper has five components. Okay, very well. A rotary lawnmower, as the complexity of product increases, the number of product components also increases. So what this slide is saying is that complexity of product increases, then the number of components also increases. Okay, so a printing machine has 12,000 components. Automobile has 15,000. Transport airplane has this is 15,000, so 15,000, then it has 4 million. Okay, passenger airplane 6 million. So imagine the number of components they have. So this is a video which I've already shared on WhatsApp. Okay, nothing to go. So now we know the definition of manufacturing, okay, technologically and economically. Let's move on to the materials. I know you guys know already about different types of materials which are used. You guys must have gone through introduction to materials as well. But let's have a brief look. Different types of materials. In general, we have got usually three basic types of material: metal, number two, polymers, number three, ceramics. Okay, so we have got metals, polymers, and ceramics. Okay, but when we combine them, then they become composite. Okay, so if I'm going to combine metal with ceramic, then I'm going to get a product which is composite. Okay, composite are materials which have one more than one type of material within them. Okay, so the categories of engineering materials are metal, ceramic, and polymers. So let's have a look at what are those, what are the properties of these materials. So let's move to metals. Okay, metals used in manufacturing are usually alloys. Okay, first we need to know what is metal. Metal is basically those material in the transition element groups, which have luster, they have got free valence electron on them, they are ductile, they have got very good strength, they are shiny. So this is the basic definition of metals. Okay, but in manufacturing, what kind of material we use, what kind of metals we use. Okay, so when we talk about metals, okay, we know the most famous metal is iron, right? So that is why iron based metals are separate and non-iron based metals are separate. Okay, so iron based metals are called ferrous materials. Iron based metals are called ferrous materials. So ferrous, okay, and non-iron based materials are called non-ferrous materials. Those materials which are not iron are non-ferrous. So non-ferrous. Okay. So when we talk about ferrous material, then we have iron, Fe. Okay. And when we talk about non-ferrous metals, then we have got copper, Cu. What else? We have got lead, Pb. We have got tin, Sb. Okay, we have got titanium, very famous, from Titanic. Then we have got aluminium, okay, aluminium foil. Then we have got magnesium, Mg. So there are various non-ferrous materials. Now remember that these materials are not sufficient and these metals are not good enough because their strength is not very good when we have them in pure form. Pure iron will get very rusty. Pure iron can break easily. Okay. Pure magnesium cannot exist in the form. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to combine metals together. Okay. We need to combine metals together to form alloy. Okay. Alloy is a material. Alloy is a combination of metals which when we add in metal, okay, it becomes, its properties are improved. Alloys are metallic materials in which when a component is added, the properties are improved. Okay, so the strength is significantly improved. The tensile strength is improved. The corrosion strength is improved. The ductility is improved. The toughness is improved. Okay, so that is why we don't use iron in pure form. We use stainless steel. Okay, stainless steel is also iron, but it is small quantity of other materials. Okay, so when we talk about ferrous based material, we use a lot of time. Our laptops have sometimes MacBooks are made of aluminum, right? So it's not pure aluminum, it is an alloy. It is an alloy of aluminum and zinc. Okay, let's say if you look back at your Proton car, it is not iron, it is steel. Okay, so we have got stainless steel. Okay, stainless steel is iron, 18% chromium, and 8% nickel. When I am going to add 18% chromium, 8% nickel in my iron, then it becomes stainless steel. Okay, and stainless steel has excellent corrosion resistance. It cannot corrode very easily. So the property which I get is excellent corrosion resistance. Okay, now let's talk about aluminum. If I talk about aluminum 7000 series, 7000 series. Aluminum 7000 series means that it has 2 to 4% zinc. So Al plus I add zinc, Zn. When I add zinc, the tensile strength of aluminum increases 3 times. So it can be used in aircrafts. Okay, I can use this aluminum in aircrafts. Okay, so that is why aluminum 7000 series is called aerospace alloy. Okay, so different alloy have different names, they have different properties, and they are used for the manufacturing of different products. Okay, so when we talk about ferrous based material, obviously they are based on iron. Okay, the main ingredient is iron. Then I can add little bit chromium, little bit nickel, little bit vanadium, little bit manganese to improve the properties. Okay, so steel is basically an iron carbon alloy containing 0.2 to 2.11% carbon. Okay, so if the carbon is very less, then the strength of the steel is very high. This is my graph. This is, let's say, tensile strength. This is strain. Okay, so the steel has a very good properties and it has a very good strength. Okay, if the carbon percentage is 0.02 to 2.11%. If the carbon percentage is greater than 2.11%, then what happens is that the strength of that kind of steel decreases. Okay, and that steel is called carbon steel. Okay, so there are two types of steel usually. One is called the low carbon steel, medium carbon steel, high carbon steel. So steel is in the category of low carbon steel. Low carbon steel have very high strength. Okay, but If we talk about medium carbon or high carbon steel, so this is cast iron. Cast iron has 2 to 4% carbon. Okay, so what happens is that its strength is very low. The strength of this carbon is very low. Okay, but then its melting ability is very good. This iron, the iron which has 2 to 4% carbon, easy to melt and easy to make different products. That's why we can do casting of these materials. What is casting? Basically, we melt a material, we pour inside a mold, and we get the desired shape. Okay. So cast iron is basically used for engine cylinders in internal combustion engine. So let's say I make a piston. This is your piston, piston of Proton Vera. Okay. This is your piston. This is your crankshaft. Okay. Sorry, connecting rod. Sorry. And this is your crankshaft. Okay. So the cylinder, the bore, your cylinder, you have 4-cylinder car, you have 3-cylinder car. So the bore or the cylinder of the car, this cylinder in which the piston is present, this is cylinder. Okay. This is made of cast iron. Okay. So this is your cast iron. Now I talked about non-ferrous metals. Non-ferrous materials are metals which are like aluminum, copper, gold, magnesium, nickel, silver, tin, titanium, and zinc. So they have different properties. So they are also used in different applications. So such as if I talk about non-ferrous materials, then aluminum is used in car bodies also. Okay. Then copper is used in electrical wires. So there are different applications. Let's move to second type of material, which is polymer. So these are basically different comparison of different metals, aluminum, copper. So easy to cast. Okay, E is excellent, excellent in casting. Aluminum is the best material in casting. Cast iron is very good in casting. Okay, but steel is fair in casting. Okay, not very good. Then weldability. Weldability of aluminum is okay, but steel is very good, excellent. Okay, so different materials have different advantages and disadvantages. Okay. Okay. So first we go to ceramics. Ceramics are materials or compounds which have both metallic and non-metallic element, but they still cannot conduct electricity, but they are very good insulator of heat. So ceramics are types of material, okay, which contain metallic compounds, but they have oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon. Okay, so they are combination of metal plus either oxygen or carbon or nitrogen. What does it means? The sand in which you walk, the beach sand, is silicon. Silicon is a metal, but if I combine it with oxygen, it becomes silicon dioxide. The sand is basically a ceramic. It has very good insulation properties. If you walk on hot sand, it is hot, but if you remove the sand, it becomes cold because it has good thermal insulation. If we talk about uh, chromium, then chromium makes very good properties with chromium nitride, so it becomes chromium nitride. It is a ceramic. Then we have silic- silicon carbide, very hard material. Then we have got tungsten, WC, tungsten carbide, very hard material. The hardness is around 2000 HV. Silicon carbide hardness 1800 HV. Chromium nitride hardness 1400 HV. So these are very hard materials and they have very good thermal insulation, but poor conductors of electricity. They cannot conduct electricity. Okay. So we have clay, we have got silica, we have got alumina. What is alumina? Alumina is Alumina. Alumina, Al, right? Al means aluminium, right? So aluminium means Al, and then oxygen, Al2O3. So this is a very famous ceramic also. Then we got nitrides. Nitrides are like these tungsten carbide, silicon carbides are used in cutting tools also. So if you operate a lathe machine, you will see that the lathe machine tool has black top. On the corner you will see some blackish part or a coating. That is either silicon carbide, chromium carbide, or tungsten carbide. So those coatings at the corner of the tool of a lathe machine, you will see this these kind of material because they are very hard and very strong. So this was all about ceramics, and let's move to polymers. So polymers are basically organic materials. Okay, polymers are compound formed by repeating structure called mers. Okay, and they are basically a combination of carbon plus one or more elements such as hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and chlorine. Okay, so basically how polymers are, that they have repeating structure. So let's say I've got carbon. Okay, so I've got one carbon has hydrogen, and hydrogen. Then it is attached to another carbon which has hydrogen and hydrogen. And then again another carbon which is hydrogen, and then maybe chlorine. Okay, so the repeating unit is called mer. Okay, and poly means many, so it becomes polymers. Okay, so polymers have different types and they have different applications. All plastics are polymers. Okay, so we have got thermosetting plastic, we have got thermoplastic polymer, and then we have got elastomer. So these three have their different properties. Thermoplastic polymer, okay, I can do multiple heating and cooling cycle without alteration of its molecular structure. So those plastic in which I can heat and then I can cool down and it becomes same. Doesn't happen anything. So these kind of plastics are called thermoplastic polymers. Then there are thermosetting polymers. So once I heat and once they are formed, then cannot change. If you heat again, then it will destroy. Cannot change. Okay. So heating only once only. So those are called thermosetting. After applying heat, set already. So that is thermosetting. Thermoplastic means thermal, I apply heat, become plastic, again apply heat, become plastic, no problem. And then we have got elastomer. Elastomer are type of polymer which can be elastic. So that is why they are called elastomer. Thermoplastic and thermosetting are plastic which are rigid and strong and cannot become elastic. Okay, so these are three basic things. These are three basic types of polymers. We move to composites. Imagine that I have got a steel a plastic. This is a polymer plastic. Okay, and I put steel rod inside. Okay, steel rod. Then this is metal. Okay, so do you know what is this? These are your car tires. Okay, this polymer, elastomer, and the metal, the combination is sometimes called car tire, right? And this is called a composite. A composite is a material which is a combination of two or different types of materials. Okay, I can also add ceramic inside, small particles of ceramic. Let's say I put carbon. Okay, so carbon strengthen the plastic, and metal fibers, these are metal fibers, Fibers, ERS. Fibers are long material. Okay. The small materials or particles are carbon particles. Particles are called particulates. Okay. Parti Particulates. And this is a polymer. Okay. So this is a composite material. A composite is a material which has two or more than two types of different material. So a composite can have polymer, metal, ceramic together can, or ceramic metal can, or ceramic polymer can, or polymer metal can also, or uh, metal ceramic can. So let's say I have metal, a big metal piece, and I put inside silicon carbide particles. This is silicon and this is aluminum. Okay, silicon carbide and this is aluminum. So it becomes metal matrix composite. This is called, this blue part is called matrix. So it is aluminum matrix. The component which is more in number, the component which is more in quantity is called matrix. So this is silicon carbide particulate reinforced. I am enforcing this silicon carbide into aluminum matrix. So reinforced aluminum matrix. Okay, so this is a metallic composite or metal matrix composite. The matrix is made of aluminum. So this is MMC, metal. This is just for your further information. This is not a part of manufacturing, but at least you should know what are different types of composites. What is metal matrix composite? Metal matrix composite. Okay, so we have learned about metals. In metals, we have learned about ferrous material which has iron, non-ferrous material which has no iron, but they are, let's say, copper, aluminum, magnesium, etc. Then in ferrous material, we have two types of steel iron. One is called stainless steel iron, and the other is called cast iron. Okay, cast iron has composition 2 to 4%. Stainless steel has less than 2% iron. Okay, both have different properties. Then we move from metals, we move to ceramics. Ceramics are basically metals, but with oxygen, nitrogen, or carbon. So they become silicon carbide, they become iron oxide, they become tungsten carbide. So these are material which has good insulation of heat. They are very strong but very brittle. They can break easily if I apply a tough load. Okay. Then we move to polymers. Polymers are basically organic compounds and material which are made of carbon and long and other chains of carbons called mers. So carbon can be combined with hydrogen, oxygen, or chlorine, fluorine, etc. So then there are the three types of polymers. One is thermosetting, one is thermoplastic, and one is elastomer. Okay. Then we move to composites. Composites are basically a physical mixing of two or different types of materials. Let's say polymer and metal, or ceramic or metal, something like that, to get additional strength, to get different properties. So the reason why I'm doing the mixing is that the metal is very strong, but the silicon carbide creates additional strength. Polymer is very weak, but if I put the metal wires inside the tire, then it becomes very strong, right? So different properties can be combined to get composites. Okay. So this was all about materials. Okay. Now let me briefly give you uh, introduction to classification of manufacturing. Okay, what are the different classification of manufacturing? Okay, so manufacturing or manufacturing process can be uh, classified in two main things. Number one is processing operation, Number two is assembly operations. Just now I already told you what is assembly operation, right? And number one is processing operations. Number two is assembly operations. What is processing operations? Basically, processing operation is basically to transform a work material from one state to more advanced state closer to the desired product. It adds value by changing its geometry, properties, and appearance. What is assembly? We join two or more than two components to create a new entity called an assembly. So basically, if I've got this raw material, if I've got this raw material, and I'm going to do bending operation, shaping operation, forging operation, then these are basically to change the geometry, to change the appearance. Then these are processing operations. Okay, the processing operation includes shaping. You can see number one is shaping, number two is property enhancing, number three is surface processing. Okay, so in shaping we've got solidification process, particulate processing, deformation. These are something which we will learn later, but mainly manufacturing process is based on processing operations, and number two is assembly operations. In processing operations we have shaping process, property enhancing process, and surface processing operations. Assembly operations are permanent join and mechanical fastening. Mechanical fastening and permanent join. Permanent join is welding, brazing, adhesive bonding, and mechanical fastening is basically fastener, let screw, nuts, bolts, and threaded fasteners. So that can be removed or put again. So these are mechanical fasteners. And other thing is permanent joining, which is welding, brazing, soldering. This is also something we will learn. So just remember that manufacturing process is based on two things. Number one is processing operation. Number two is assembly operations. Processing of operation is transform work material to advanced state. Okay, and assembly operation is join two or more components. That's it. So I will give you a brief introduction to processing operations and assembly operations. Now in manufacturing subject, we are going to learn all of these. Which one of these? We will learn solidification, particulate, deformation process, material removal process, and we will learn welding, brazing, and adhesive bonding. In this course, we are going to learn these only. Okay, the rest of them are basically advanced manufacturing. So if you are going to take bachelor's course or master's course, then you will learn these heat treatment, cleaning, coatings, okay, threaded fasteners, and permanent joint. So for this course, we are limited to these operations only. So let's have a look at what is solidification, what is particulate, what is deformation, what is material removal, what is welding. Okay. Any questions so far? Anything you want to repeat me? You want me to repeat if I have gone too fast? Let me know if you want me to repeat something.
No, sir. So far, so good, sir.
Okay, okay. Thank you. So just we proceed. So in this course only shaping cover and welding cover. Okay. So let's move to shaping process. Shaping process has four categories which we saw already. Number one is solidification, particulate, deformation, material removal. So what is solidification process? Solidification process is basically I melt something and pour into something to make a cast. That is melting and solidification process. Very simple. So starting material is heated into liquid, then the fluid is cooled and it solidifies to form the part geometry. Okay, so let's say if I am going to melt iron and I am going to put iron in my cup, then the iron will take the shape of the cup, right? So that is my final geometry. So I heat to get a final geometry is called solidification or casting process. Very simple. So this is, let's say, iron which I melt and then I basically pour it in a die, okay, to form this shape. Okay, so later on what I get is I get this shape, and I'm going to cut this part. This part I cut so that I get the final product like this. This part is removed. Okay, so this is solidification process. There are many types of solidification process that we will learn next week. Investment casting, loss form casting, there are so many types. Okay, but you can see from the picture that each type has its own advantages and disadvantages and applications. Okay, so these are something we will learn in the next chapter, next class. Then we move to shaping process. Shaping process, particulate processing. What we do in particulate processing is that we have got a lot of powders, okay, and then we combine, and through heat and pressure, we combine them to form a shape. Okay, so by combining the powders under pressure and heat, we can create a shape or a geometry or a product that is called particulate processing. Particle means very small thing, particulate means many small things. So combination of particulate is called particulate processing. Okay, so I've got a lot of particles. I am going to put them under a die under a force. Okay, and then it becomes the shape of the die. This is particulate processing. So there are various types of particulate processing that we will learn in maybe week number 4 or 5. Then we move to deformation process. Deformation means to deform. Okay, so this is a simple form. If I'm going to bend it, it is deformation. Okay, bending is a deformation process. If I'm going to, let's say, completely roll it, then it is a rolling operation. Okay, so it is changing of shape by starting work part is shaped by the application of force. So using force, so my hand is a force, and my hand is basically going to bend it. Okay, so this is deformation process. There are mainly two types of deformation process. Number one is forging, and number two is extrusion. Okay, this is something we will learn also later on. So there are different types of sheet metal processing, shearing. Okay, we are going to use shearing machine to remove the material, slitting, punching, piercing. Okay, uh, bending, hemming. So there are many types of sheet metal forming process. So one is for sheet, very thin sheet, and one is for bulk deformation. One is for very thick material. Okay, so both have their own forming operation. So if my material is very thick, then it is called bulk deformation. If a material is very thin sheet, then it is called sheet forming operation or sheet forming process. So I'm going to put a lot of videos for you guys to understand these process, to know how this process looks like. Okay, so in the next class, I will put a lot of videos also so that you guys know, okay, what is shearing operation, what is bending operation, how do we carry this operation. Okay, so it is through videos that we can learn real life videos, or what you call real application videos, through which you will be able to learn more easily. Okay. So we have got material removal operation. Material removal operation means that I am going to remove a material by either cutting or using milling machine or using turning machine. Okay, so there are different types of machine available which have got tools, and those tools are very sharp. So those sharp tools basically remove the material from the bulk material or from the sheet material. They will remove it. Okay, so that process is called material removal process. Okay. So this is called a turning process. This is called drilling process. So whenever you're doing drilling in a hole, what happens that from the wall the material is removed. So that is why it is called material removal process. So there are different types of material removal process also: machining, advanced machining, finishing. We will learn that later on. Next, we move to assembly operations. So assembly operations are basically, as I told you, we join two or more different types of material. It can be permanent joint, it can be semi-permanent joint. So permanent joints are welding process, brazing process, soldering process, and mechanical adhesive bonding process. Mechanical assembly methods can be conveniently disassembled, such as using screw, bolt, and other threaded fasteners. So if I am going to use mechanical assembly components like screw, nuts, bolt, I can combine them and then remove them as well. So disassemble as well. So these are different types of welding: fusion welding, shielded metal arc welding, laser welding, which I showed you in the introduction class. Okay, that video was laser welding. So there are different types of welding process that we can perform. So I went through the last part very quickly because this is something we will cover in detail in the chapters of next class. Okay.